in the classroom and outside the classroom. You should be very proud going into this semester, going into this year, because it is a brand, emphasizing brand new day. But as we move into a new day, we cannot forget our past because all of you are part of it. And in closing, we want to show you, it's hot off the press. It's a new promotion video. It's a new advertising video. And as we move forward, we need to always keep in mind our mission as we service the students. And they told me to stretch it out until they get ready. And when they give me the sign, it's going to get ready. But I'm excited, and I hope you're excited about this new year. Again, we have some challenges, but we have some strategic initiatives to address each and every one. And as soon as they give me the go from the sign in back, I'll stop talking. It won't embarrass me anymore. And so, as soon as they say go, you want me to dance for it? Okay, they're going to hit the play. Thank you, and have a great day. Let me tell you about the exciting things happening here at Convocation Community College. We have a number of opportunities for you, whether you're planning to transfer or you're going directly into the job market. We not only have quality instruction, but we have dedicated staff. More importantly, not only are you going to learn in the classroom, but you're going to learn outside of the classroom as well. We have activities, we have programs, we have a number of cultural events as well. And all of these things help for the development of the entire student, the growing of the entire personality, and all the things you need to compete nationally as well as internationally. Thomas Nelson is that exciting place, and we encourage you to look at all of the opportunities here.
One of the advantages of coming to Thomas Nelson is that a student can complete the first 2 years of a 4-year degree here at Thomas Nelson in a very supportive learning environment with quality faculty members, small class sizes, and the notion that you are somebody when you're here at Thomas Nelson.
Thomas Nelson was about 30 minutes away from where I live, so I wanted to go to college, and I knew that I wanted to go to a 4-year university, so I came here, and I've been here for 2 years, and I know I'm going to go for another 2 until I get my associate's degree.
I decided to come here because I didn't feel I was ready to go to a 4-year university yet. I didn't feel like I was ready for the big college life yet, and I wanted to get my grades ready before I go out to college like that.
I didn't have the resources to travel far. I live off campus now, obviously, so I wanted to go somewhere that was local, and Thomas Nelson was my first choice. And I knew it was an accredited college, and it would be recognized if I decided to go to a 4-year college.
Our students, when they leave Thomas Nelson, when they transfer to a 4-year institution, for instance, they have a higher success rate than students who are going straight from high school straight into the 4-year university. They come out with a higher grade point average after their first junior year and going into their senior year at a 4-year institution.
I've been pursuing higher education for 30 years, but this is the first time in my life that I was actually able to have the time to actually do it. And so now, after 30 years, I've actually achieved that first part of my journey, is to get higher education or college.
Thomas Nelson gave me an opportunity to see what I could be and what my true potentials were. And it just gave me that beginning that I needed just to kickstart me into an entirely new life.
When I left Thomas Nelson, I felt I had a firm foundation to succeed in anything that I was going to attempt. And when I went on to a 4-year university, I felt I had all those elements for success.
We have a firmly dedicated professional faculty, and our commitment and professionalism is recognized by our students.
I think a good teacher is when somebody makes you feel comfortable, and also forcing a learning environment.
Well, I like a lot of the teachers here. They're very experienced in what they do. They work with your schedule a lot. It's very convenient for whether or not you have school or if you have kids or if you're working.
What I really understood here was the encouragement that I received from the teachers was more than just encouragement. They saw something that I had that they thought that I should work with, and they have totally advanced me from where I used to be to where I am now.
The faculty and staff at Thomas Nelson really believed in me before I believed in myself.
The support that I received, and I know many other students received from the faculty at Thomas Nelson, was invaluable.
I love the interaction with my students. I love helping people find their God-given talents and to be able to use those skills and to be productive in society. We all share in one common goal, and that is meeting the needs of our students.
I just think the Thomas Nelson is a good opportunity for people who want to either go to another community college or prepare for the work field.
I believe that in many cases, students who come up in the community college, this is a great opportunity for them to really look into the future, discover themselves, and really decide what it is that they would like to do.
Thomas Nelson has everything that any student, particularly a younger student, would envision of college. And I think that Thomas Nelson takes the word community in their name very seriously, and that the faculty, the staff, the resources there are geared to every student's success.
Regardless of your goals, we'll work with you and we'll walk with you to make sure that you can achieve those goals.
Thomas Nelson offers a variety of opportunities, and it depends on what your goals are. If we don't have it at Thomas Nelson, you probably don't need it.
We have a transfer center where students can look at other colleges if they're looking to go to a four-year college and decide what program they want to go into, and which courses here they should take to best fit into that program.
The articulation agreements allow students to begin their four-year degrees here at Thomas Nelson with a guaranteed transfer option to the four-year institution included in that agreement.
I like that Thomas Nelson has articulation agreements. Basically, the college advisor from the four-year university is telling you what classes you need to take, what credits.
They are enrolled in courses that in fact will transfer, and not only transfer to the institution, but will be applicable to a degree program. We have dual enrollment for high school students, and that allows students in high school to accumulate college credits prior to graduation from high school. And it also allows them an affordable way to accumulate college credits.
One of our strategic initiatives here at Thomas Nelson Community College is to service our entire region. And in servicing our entire region, we're building a brand new college campus in the historic Triangle area, and we're committed to quality instruction and quality services, not only for that campus, but also continued services here at our Hampton campus.
Thomas Nelson Community College really gives you an opportunity to explore your possibilities, to see what it is that you really would like to do.
At Thomas Nelson, we encourage you to look at all the opportunities here because we truly believe you will have an experience of a lifetime.
At Thomas Nelson Community College, you can explore, excel, and succeed.
I really love this school. I will never forget this experience. This has been one of the better experiences and definitely a defining moment in my life.
If you would like to become involved in this synergy, in this forward movement, Thomas Nelson is the place to be.
All those great things, you should feel very proud of being a part of Thomas Nelson. And as we start the new year, feel proud that we have great things happening. And we're going to boldly go. And I'll say this one.
faculty at that time and wondering if I had made the right choice. Of course, long ago I got my answer, but I'd like to know from the new people in the room today who are here with us for the first time, did you make the right choice? After hearing that, do you feel you're in the right place? Let's those of us who've been here a while convince these new folks that I made the right choice. This is the place to be. There's no doubt after this morning, this is the place to be. I understand that during the branding discussions, one of the most ferocious battles was an attempt to convince the group that the college should change its name to the SS Enterprise Community College. That initiative did not succeed. However, in the negotiation, it was agreed that hereafter Harrison Hall would be referred to as the Bridge. We're about to hear from some people from the Bridge. They've been told, and you will probably be very happy, that they do not have to wear the uniform pajamas this morning. We're going to start with the Vice President for Academic Affairs, new to us, under a month, Dr. Richard Fleming. Slight change, the President did promise a question and answer period, so we're going to do that after we hear from a few Vice Presidents, then we'll have our question and answer period and our break. Okay? Let me reintroduce Dr. Richard Fleming.
I suppose to continue the theme, live long and prosper. Well, good morning. I too want to welcome all of you back, especially the faculty and the academic staff. But it seems a little strange for me doing that since I've only been here for 2 weeks and 1 day. But today my purpose is to give you an update of what's happening in academics here at the college. The President has already covered many of the relevant topics in his college report, and I'll briefly mention some others as well. But I'd really like to follow up on some of the advice of the deans, Tom Long, and several of my colleagues here, and use this as a time to let you get to know a bit about me, about who I am, and share with you some of my thoughts and my feelings about my new position and role here at Thomas Nelson. Somebody said today, you have a little bit of an accent. And I was born and raised in Memphis, but I spent 21 years in Dallas, and so I have what I call a Kid-Tex accent. But actually, I lived here in 1969 to 71. The Air Force sent me here in 1969. And so in part, I'm returning to a familiar area, even though it's grown a lot since I left. And in fact, my daughter, Meredith, was born here 10 days before I shipped out to my next duty assignment. The satellite facility I worked at is behind the Jefferson Lab, and it's now a bus depot and maintenance depot for the Newport News School District. And the areas that I remember that were once wooded and sylvan are now shopping centers, housing developments, and there's certainly a lot more traffic than I remember. However, when I left 35 years ago, I always said that if I returned to the East Coast, I want to live in Virginia. I'm a colonial and Civil War history buff, and so I'm looking forward to once again indulging that hobby. And I've been doing some genealogy work, and in tracing back through my family, I'm actually a Virginian. I'm back to the early 1700s, and my however many great-grandfather was born in Amelia County, which is just a little bit southwest of Richmond, but I'm kind of dead-ended there, so there may be other relatives that go further back than that. So in a sense, I'm a Virginian. So I'm excited to be a part of Thomas Nelson and able to participate in it as the theme of this convocation says, a brand new day. For 28 years, I've committed myself to community colleges and the students we serve, and I intend to do so until I decide to retire. But now, I want to commit myself to you. I believe my role is to work with individuals, to help them be as creative as they can be, to enable them to use their skills and expertise to create quality opportunities for learning. I believe my role is to help achieve our mission and vision and ensure we continue to be an integral part of the communities we serve. I want to work to fulfill our responsibility to provide the best and most responsive academic opportunities possible for our students. I've not had an opportunity to meet many of you yet, but I'm looking forward to getting to know each of you in the coming weeks and months. And please bear with me. You have one name, I have over 100. But once we get to know each other better, I firmly believe we're going to find we have a lot in common and discover we all want to reach the same goals. And we want to reach those goals with trust, mutual respect, and a sincere commitment to our students and our work. I personally want to commit to you that I will be supportive as we take risks to be innovative and responsive. I will communicate with an atmosphere of openness, cooperation, collaboration, civility, transparency, and would only ask the same of all of you. I'll actively listen to you as we talk about our issues and our opportunities, as we work on things together, as you present your ideas to me, and as you share your expertise, experience, and insights. I commit to helping us consistently share information, and I'll be available and accessible to you. I want to work with everyone in the college and across the college to break down our silos, to develop a cross-organizational perspective. As we make decisions, I want us to always ask, as the President said earlier, is it in the best interest of our students, and is it in the best interest of Thomas Nelson? But I'm also excited to be a part of this new presidential team. As an institution, we have opportunities to expand our distance learning, to creatively expand our schedule, to expand services to our students, to develop new programs, and to address other opportunities I'm still learning about. Together, we can build on our past growth and successes, examine our current challenges and opportunities, and imagine our future as the community's college. So in closing my personal remarks, and before I go into some additional updates, let me share with you a little bit of a personal story that I hope will assure you of my commitment to community colleges and my understanding of the differences we can make in students' lives. Now, some of you have heard this, and you know I get very emotional because it's about my daughter. Looking at the video, my daughter, Meredith, who obviously is 71, she's now 34, soon to be 35. My grandson, Ian, who started the kindergarten yesterday, when she got divorced, she called me and said, Dad, you were right. I really need to go to college. And I said, that's a wonderful decision, Meredith. I'm glad you realized that. So she moved back to San Antonio. She started San Antonio College. She lived on Pell Grants. She lived on her student loans. A little bit of help now and then for me. But in May of this past year, she graduated. And when I went to her graduation, sitting in the audience as opposed to sitting on stage, I could get more teary-eyed. But as I saw those 200 plus students walking across the stage, as I listened to their families and their friends cheer them on, and as I cheered my daughter when she walked across the stage, I realized this is why I come to work every day. This is why we do what we do, to help those students achieve their goals, their dreams. And as Tom Long said last night, when students are ready to come to us, we're ready for them. And my daughter was ready to go. The college accepted her in, and now, and hopefully, she'll find a job. But obviously, I'm very proud of her. And now she's saying, you know, gee, maybe I'd like to go get a bachelor's. And I said, Meredith, that's a wonderful goal. I encourage that. get a job and get some benefits from it. And let them pay for it. So, I'm glad to be here. Let me just hit a few highlights. I don't have a slide on this, but the one thing that I read and I've been most impressed about is in a recent survey, our faculty received a 95% rating of either very satisfied or satisfied. And I think that that speaks highly to the quality and the level of the faculty we have here and the commitment that they have to their students. That 95% of the, I think it's 1,800 student survey said that. Other things we're doing, we're developing a construction management program. We're partnering with Edmonds Community College in Seattle and with Space Tech to develop a curriculum and a national certification for material sciences technicians. We're the only institution in the region that has the expertise to offer courses in CATIA, which is a 3D modeling software and will probably become part of all engineering curriculums. This summer, Space Tech funded a certification training in fiber optics for one of our faculty, and this year we'll begin offering classes in fiber optics. The Automotive Technician Program will review its NATAB, that's the National Certification Group for Automotive, this year. Our music area continues to expand, and this fall, they're going to move into a new soundproof classroom. Our English department is offering a new specialization for future English teachers. And the Career Study Certificate in Professional Writing is now online, and I was told it's the first full CSC to be completely online in the state and possibly in the country. There's a new study abroad committee planning on a trip to Central America. Our distance education continues to expand, and as was mentioned this past summer, we ran Camp Connected for our faculty. We continue to work on our QEP, the Communities of Learning program that was developed as part of the SACS accreditation. Our nursing program continues to be strong and has expanded into the historic triangle. And just last week, we graduated 32 med lab technicians from the Navy. And so that program continues to be strong as we fulfill our commitment to them. There'll be remodeling going on starting at the end of this year and continuing into next year for the biology and chemistry labs in Hastings Hall. We have a new veterinary technician program conducted through distance learning with Blue Ridge Community College starting next summer. And STEP, which is the Seamless Teacher Education Program, has developed with ODU in biology and sciences, and will be recruiting its first cohort. These are only a few examples of what we're doing. If I didn't mention something you're involved in, I'm sorry, because if I was going to stand here and go through everything that I was given, we'd probably be here tomorrow. So I try to cover everything. These are exciting opportunities. These are exciting initiatives, and I look forward to working with you on these initiatives. Again, as I say, by listening to you, to respecting and using your experience and your expertise, I want to keep consistently open communication, work together with trust and respect. And I think that if I remain committed to doing that, we can affect and make a difference in the lives of our students and their future success. And as I do that, think of my daughter, Meredith. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce our Executive Vice President, Dr. Bob Baldigo.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming. I too want to welcome you back to Thomas Nelson Community College for the start of a brand new year, brand new academic year. This is our department's organization, and I'm going to give you a little bit of information about what is going on in the first 4 units here. For the last 2 units, first Cynthia Callaway is the new Vice President of Institutional Advancement. She will introduce herself in a couple of minutes. Secondly, for the Information Technology Unit, Roy Bernard is going to tell you about what's going on in that organization. The campus police department. Eddie Perry is the new police chief and head of that organization. He's been with us for 5 or 6 months now and has some good things in process and planned. He has had some vacancies that he had to deal with, and most of them are now taken care of. He is installing a camera system. I was going to joke, no, never mind, I won't talk about the in-class camera systems we're putting in. The camera systems that we're piloting right now, we're putting them on the outside of some buildings. I think it's on Templin Hall, and I hope it isn't something that was struck by lightning overnight, by the way. And I think we'll have a few more to follow outside. Eventually, we're going to be working toward putting a few in some of the common areas. I think in Griffin and at Peninsula Workforce Development Center, trying to get a few security cameras out there. We've not had them in the past, and I think it'll be a neat addition. He also plans on holding some student personal safety seminars, and I think that'll be a good information, a good package of information for these students. Dr. Taylor mentioned student financial aid. Tony Jones is the new director there. He too has had some personnel vacancies that he had to deal with. He's filled most of them. We still have a couple of other relatively key positions to fill as well. And he's trying to use the technology that we have there to its best advantage. For example, the FAFSA form, the free application for federal financial or student financial aid. Filling that out online on the web has a lot of advantages that come along with it. For example, it is possible, and I'm not saying that we're going to get to this right away, but I think it's possible to fill out a financial aid form on a Monday and have that student awarded financial aid on a Wednesday. He's also using some of the PeopleSoft tools, the 3 C's, communications, checklists, and comments that can speed up the financial aid process, and also putting some of the financial aid forms that we have online to make them better, more easily accessible by students. The facility services area, Chris Bowman, has some interesting things in front of him. The historic Triangle campus that Dr. Taylor has talked about, and Rob Elsas, I think, will give you a little bit more on the specific schedule for that one. The Hampton 3 purchase and renovation, by the way. That project was fully funded. The renovation, by the way, will consist mainly of the heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, the HVAC system, and the roof in that building. The purchase process will probably take about a year. For the state to buy property, there's a rather involved procedure that has to be gone through. It'll probably take about a year, but we're not going to wait until that property is in our hands to start planning the renovations. Hopefully we can plan those simultaneously with the purchase process so that when the building finally does become owned by the state, we can immediately start the renovations. The phase 1 renovations that are going on right now that Dr. Fleming mentioned, the photo lab and digs and the science labs. The science labs in Hastings, well, the work itself will not probably start until next summer. You probably should start seeing trailers to be able to house the temporary location for those science labs, maybe as early as late this fall. Facility services, I'm sorry, I was thinking it was going on to another one there for a moment, but some other projects that have gone on over the summer and are continuing to go on. The door and windows replacements, I think you'll be very happy to see those in terms of the improvements that's made to the campus. Sidewalks and sidewalk replacements, sidewalk additions. As you walk around campus, I think you'll see them all over the place. There's a picnic pavilion that's planned between the plant and automotive buildings. That should be bid in a couple of weeks and should be available for use late fall or early winter. I'm sure you're all going to want to be out there in the middle of the winter, but at least it'll be available for next year. There also have been a number of classrooms that have been renovated, and I think you'll be very pleased with the results. In the financial services, Teresa Bailey is the new Associate Vice President of Financial Services. She has essentially two parts in her organization, the Purchasing and Budget Unit and the Business Office. And she too had a couple of personnel vacancies with which she had to deal. Just a couple. Most are now filled, I'm happy to say. And while some of these still have some training and experience to gain in order to be fully effective, I think they're making great progress, and I'm very proud of that organization. We have split the business office in order to be able to better concentrate on the issues that we face there. Connie King will run the student financial services, or what I think of as the front office, what the students see in the process. She'll have the cashiers, financial aid disbursements, student customer services type of activities. And Georgia Caldwell, who just joined us this week, will be the second business manager. She will be responsible for the general accounting and reporting, or what I call back office functions, the functions that the students do not see. And this includes general accounting, accounts payable, travel and living accounting, and local funds. She'll also be providing travel and living and expense accounting training and purchasing training for users with her time here. So thank you for your time, and again, welcome back to the college. Next, I'd like to introduce Cynthia Callaway, who will be joining us.
And believe me, I assure you, we're very cognizant of our time, so we're going to keep this moving right along. Welcome. It is a brand new day. For me personally, that means a brand new job and a brand new state and lots of brand new faces out there that I'm very anxious to meet. And I can tell you that I'm truly honored and very excited about serving as Vice President for Institutional Advancement at Thomas Nelson Community College. I was so afraid, I've been worried all night that I was going to make that slip. I've served for one institution for the last 13 years, so please forgive me if you hear those words start trickling out of my mouth. Some things never change, even though this is a day about new beginnings, and one thing that I can assure you that has not changed at Thomas Nelson Community College is that students will always come first. And from an institutional advancement philosophy, that means that we see our role as helping you when you're on the front lines, working in the classroom, in the laboratories, in the clinics, in the offices, and in the various student services operations, to help you help our students to explore, excel, and succeed. And how are we going to do that? Well, traditionally in our role, institutional advancement means increasing institutional support through 4 traditional roles: legislative affairs, public and private grants, private fundraising, marketing, and public relations. Those are the initiatives that we're trying to move forward for the institution through institutional advancement. And I'm very excited to tell you that the success that Dr. Taylor has already mentioned with respect to the legislative affairs efforts this past year will continue. We look forward to working more diligently in this effort to continue that success. We also now have a permanent, full-time grant specialist to help us pursue public and private grants, and you will be seeing grant alerts coming out from Maddie Brisbane, and some of you that have been here since March, we're already well familiar with Maddie, and she's working very diligently to help us secure support from those efforts. Private fundraising is my forte and my personal love. Other than working with students, the other thing that I like most about what I do is asking people for money. And I look very forward very soon to being out there in our community, helping to really sell Thomas Nelson Community College, to help express our message and to let people know the value that they have right here in our own community, and impress upon them the need to support Thomas Nelson in its efforts. Along those same lines, the other way that we can help to grow the institution and to add to its resources is through marketing and public relations. And I've got a little bit of information I'd like to share for you. While some of you were enjoying your summer breaks, I can assure you that from a marketing and PR standpoint, Summer is our most busy time of the year, trying to make sure that we support recruitment efforts throughout the college and throughout the institution and make sure that students are here in the fall makes our summer very, very busy. And I want to thank the institutional advancement staff for all your efforts throughout this process. We can't do it, however, without your involvement and without your support. And this first slide shows how you've already been involved in this whole brand new day theme and the new logo and the environmental scan that was done for the institution, the development of the first external marketing task force that involved people from the community, faculty, staff, and students. Your input makes what institutional advancement does better. It's like that old BAS statement. We can't do what you do in the classroom, but we help you do it better. Will you help us and make our jobs better when you're involved in that process? And we thank you for that involvement. Another initiative that you'll see, next slide, please. We had 98 faculty and staff who responded to participate in the expertise guide, and we worked with many of your classrooms in conducting market research, projects, advertising concepts, and also in designing the logo. The logo is actually designed by students. So that's something else to be very proud of. Here's some other, just sort of a laundry list of some of the things that institutional advancement, particularly public relations and marketing, have done this past year. Produced the first television program for Thomas Nelson Community College, completed over 4,200 media design and print production requests, over 70 news releases with an 85+% publication rate. That also attests to how the media in the peninsula values what Thomas Nelson does. Produced more than 300 radio spots, 500 television spots, published the annual report, which are available, and if you've not seen that publication, please take a look. It will give you a good feel for what has happened during the past year at Thomas Nelson, and also coordinated television and radio programming appearances. The last slide I want to share with you are just some examples of some recent television news coverage and advertisements, one of which Dr. Taylor launched as the new recruitment and promotional video that was shown at the end of his remarks. But we just recently had a graduation exercise, as many of you are well aware, for 32 naval, now medical laboratory technicians at Thomas Nelson Community College. And we did get some good pre-graduation publicity on that event, and if the booth is ready, we'll go ahead and cue up a very short news tape that covered that event on WBEC.
Medical Laboratory Technology Program at Thomas Nelson Community College. The sailors get 2 years' worth of lab tech studies in 1 year's time, skills which should help save lives on the world's battlefields and help them advance in their careers.
That students can get their certificate in training for med lab to actually serve the Navy in the fleet, and in addition to that, they can also receive their associate's degree.
Partnership between the Navy and Thomas Nelson dates back to 1998. In that time, 432 sailors have graduated from the program.
Hello, City of Virginia Beach. Certainly, I am very pleased to be at Thomas Nelson Community College. Look forward to working with you, Dr. Taylor and Tom, as you've already mentioned. I really look forward to being shaped, molded, and taught by this faculty and staff, all in our efforts to serve the most important people in our mission, our students. Thank you.
Next presenter is our interim dean of student development, Dr. Nikki Richard.
2 minutes. Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to try it again. I know it's getting a little late, but I'm going to try it again. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Indeed, it is a brand new day. A day that we've never seen before and a day that we will never see again. And on this brand new day, I would like to share with you the platform from which the brand new Student Affairs Division will be launched during the 2007 academic year. In preparation for this brand new day, this brand new year, the Student Affairs staff at Thomas Nelson Community College has accomplished the following at both the Hampton and Historical Triangle campuses. We've cultivated a concept of one college, two campuses. Enrollment management, which includes the Office of Admissions, Welcome Center, Records and Registration, and testing, established extended service hours to better serve our students. We're now open from 8 to 7, Monday through Thursday, and we have Saturday hours on selected Saturdays from 9 to 12 to better accommodate our students. This decision has worked collaboratively to create and market additional 8-week 1 and 8-week 2 courses to allow students flexibility in completing assignments. We've also installed additional computers in the Admissions Welcome Center to allow students to apply for admissions online with the assistance of staff in the admissions office. My TNCC, formerly known as the NOL Lab, has increased its hours of operation to allow students to register online with the assistance of staff members. The Offices of Student Development produced the first student handbook, a guide for students to navigate and to be successful at Thomas Nelson. Additionally, the offices also produced the Keys to Success with academic support services, which was designed to support learning outside of the classroom. The new organizational structure of Student Affairs consolidated the counseling functions, creating one centralized counseling center. To date, that counseling center reflects services to anywhere from 100 to 400 students per week. A component of the counseling center is the academic planning center, and we've enhanced that center. And this past year, that center responded to the needs of 1,566 students. Additionally, the coordinator of that center was instrumental in completing transfer specializations with ODU, William & Mary, and Norfolk State, just to name a few. Also included in that counseling center is a career liaison, which we're very excited about, which is concentrated on the careers of engineering, math, and science, partially supported by the National Science Foundation. This past year, 83 students were closely involved with that office, and 9 were among the 2006 graduating class. This year, in conjunction with the coordinator of SDV, the Student Development Course, SDV 107 will be offered, and that is a career education course. The Counseling Center also houses a counselor whose primary responsibility is to support the quality enhancement plan, and resulting has been the formation of the initial steps to implementing a community of learners. Under the Student Affairs organizational structure, the TRIO office was established and currently serves 160 students who are first generation, economically marginalized, or have an identified disability. We're very proud that TNCC received very positive feedback from our site visit from the Department of Education. Last but certainly not least of all, and I can't talk about all of the accomplishments of Student Affairs, they only gave me 5 minutes and I can't understand why. But last but certainly not least, we've expanded considerably during the past year, and on July 1 of this year, 2006, the Office of Outreach and Recruitment was established. It houses a full-time director, 2 full-time recruiters, 2 part-time dual enrollment coordinators, 3 part-time career coaches. And the office is located in Suite 752, Hampton 3. Resulting from the efforts of this office are increased dual enrollment course offering, an additional 5 high schools where we have a presence, 159% increase in FTEs over the 2004-05 year that yielded a total of 443 FTEs. The efforts have also yielded 29 tech prep career pathways And we are very proud that Thomas Nelson applied for and secured a mini grant from the BCCS to host the first statewide dual enrollment symposium. The efforts of this office has also yielded the formation of a college-wide recruitment committee with the primary goal of consolidating recruitment activities across the campus. As you can extract from this, many changes have been implemented, and we have certainly faced challenges along the way. But resulting from these recruitment and retention efforts is an increase in the number of students that we are seeing enrolling at Thomas Nelson. The data suggests that we are bringing in more students, and they are opting to enroll part-time. So we have some work to do to encourage students to become full-time. We also have work to do in bringing in more students to widen the net of students to create more full-time equivalencies. But just to give you an idea of where we are now, during the 2004-05 academic year, there were 12,334 students who attended Thomas Nelson. Over this past year, 05-06, there were 13,120. That's an increase of 786 students, a 6% increase. However, our FTEs did not reflect that increase because we had approximately a 1% decrease in our FTEs. But when we look back 2 years ago, compared to the 03-04 year, we have increased our number of students by 12%. And we've increased our FTEs by 2%. And just to give you an idea of where we are today, for our fall enrollment 06, we are currently at 4,092 FTEs. Last year, at this time, we were at 3,955 FTEs. So that gives you an idea that we are growing. And the good news is that we have already implemented the largest enrollment cancellation that we will implement for this particular semester. So it looks good. This is where we are. These efforts will continue. This is where we began for the 2006-2007 academic year. And this is the foundation from which the brand new Student Affairs will be launched. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Deborah Fontaine, Special Assistant to the President.
Good morning. I'm Deborah Fontaine, and I'd like to join my colleagues to welcome you back to the 2006-2007 academic year. I'm excited to be here, and it really does feel like a brand new day. Like Dr. Fleming, I've only been here, I think Rich said, 2 weeks and a day. So, I'm a Hampton native. If you didn't know that, I was born and raised here in Hampton and went to Kickingham High School. I'm coming back home, and I'm very pleased and proud to be at TNCC. I was in high school when they opened the doors here, so it feels really great and wonderful to finally get a chance to involve myself with the students, with the faculty and the staff, and to try to contribute to the ongoing success and development of the institution. For those of you who might not know, I just came from the University of the Virgin Islands. If you haven't been to the Virgin Islands, please go. It's a beautiful place. The people are wonderful, and the beaches are, exquisite. Some of you might be wondering, what is institutional effectiveness all about? Well, what we've done at Thomas Nelson is combine institutional research and strategic planning, which Terry and John are in that area, and Lisa has human resources and her staff. And our goal in the Office of Institutional Research is really to work with the leadership team, the president, with all of the college community to make sure that Thomas Nelson is performing as efficiently as it can to make sure that all of the goals and objectives that have been mandated for the college by Deadline 2009 and by the Board of Trustees here at the college, we want to make sure that we're achieving those results. And the bottom line is we want to make sure that the institution, both on the teaching and learning side as well as the operational side, are performing at the highest levels possible. And so all of us are going to join hands together and do what we can to try to make sure that we achieve the kind of excellence that the President has been talking about. We're also going to provide lots and lots of professional support to the President's staff. I'm not so sure what that means. All of us know that when you get a job description, it says, as other duties as assigned. Well, I'm sure there's lots of other duties as assigned. What are some of the things that we're going to do for 2006 and 2007? Roy, would you push it ahead? Thank you very much. Okay. When I talk to the staff about human resources and some of the things that we would like to do, as my colleagues have been saying, I'm new and I'm learning, and so I'm not sure all the things that need to be done. But we would like for everybody in the college to understand from our perspective that we are here to serve you. We're here to serve and assist all employees at all levels. It's a safe space, it's a confidential space for you to receive the information and the services that you need. And because there's so many new people here on the campus, both here and in Williamsburg, we're going to offer a variety of workshops this year. We're going to focus on policies and procedures, and there may be some other things that you think we ought to do out of the Office of Human Resources. I would encourage you to call Lisa and her staff and say, hey, let's do this or let's do the other thing, and we'll try to do that for you. The other thing that we said we would try to do is try to increase communications in the college so that people know what's happening to one another. When somebody gets transferred or promoted or hired, we want to make sure that we use whatever resources are available to communicate that information to you so you don't have to guess and figure out what's really going on. In the area of institutional research, I think the one thing I want to say is that our office is rebuilding. So we're asking you to be a little bit patient with us, but the Office of Institutional Research and Strategic Planning is going to become the official repository or warehouse for all of college data. We're involved with PeopleSoft, and we're going to be working with you to make sure that when somebody needs information about the institution, the number of students we have, the credentials of our faculty, the number of employees that we have, that information would actually be coming from the Office of Institutional Research. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be working on some surveys to try to benchmark some of our progress. Because when you're talking about performance, you need to know where you are and where you're trying to go, and then you got to measure what the gaps are. So we're going to be doing everything that we can to try to ensure that Thomas Nelson is a premier institution both nationally and internationally. And then finally, one of the things that I'm most excited about, because I've been doing strategic planning for quite a while, is we're going to oversee and monitor the 2005-2010 strategic plan's implementation. The first thing we're going to do is simplify the process. I've heard a lot of people say that it's just too much work. So we're going to simplify the process. I've talked to my colleagues on the leadership team, and we're all committed to do that. We're going to integrate the goals and objectives for Dateline 2000 and the Thomas Nelson board mandated and unit goals in a way that simplifies the process. So as we begin to report out on progress and results, it'll be a lot easier and simpler for people to understand. And I'm also considering with my colleagues, perhaps we might establish a steering committee that will bring a larger group of colleagues here from the college community together so that we can challenge and probe and encourage, push and pull, I'd like to say, because in order to get something done, somebody's got to push and somebody's got to pull to make sure that things happen. Let me just say as I conclude that I'm excited to be here. I'm delighted to be a part of the Thomas Nelson Community College family and community. This is my home, and I can say from 1967 till now, wow, I am so impressed. I'm glad to be here. Call me. My whole role is to provide service and support to the college community, and John and Lisa and all of our team will do everything we can to make this truly a brand new day. Welcome.
The bridge is looking pretty good so far, isn't it? At this point last year and again this year, I want to get a sense of if there are questions that are issues you'd like to ask about. The President's standing by for those, but in the sake of time, let's see if do you have any questions? We'll see if you come out. Okay. We do have some inquiring minds.
People with microphones on this side and upstairs. If there are any questions, I'll take them.
about adjunct professors? Any new perspectives?
Oh, in terms of the salaries, I thank you for asking that, and I apologize for not bringing that up. As we did last year, this fall semester, what we will do is sit down with faculty, with staff, and devise a plan to come up with some type of increase for adjuncts as well as part-time staff. And so I appreciate you asking that question. And hopefully, looking at the funds and looking at our enrollment, we'll be able to come up with a plan, and on January, if not before, I'll be able to announce what that plan is and implement it immediately in January.
Thank you.
Good question. Anyone else? Going once. Going twice. Well, let me just add one last thing. You got a lot of information in a short period of time. And again, we talked about being a comprehensive premier institution. The one thing that I wanted to add, for Thomas Nelson, we really are not looking at trying to be the largest for the state of Virginia. We just want to be the best. Have a great day.
Okay, the word from the captain is we're going to move at warp speed from here on. We made an adjustment in the schedule. We are going to have our break at this point. I know those are new seats, but not squeaking yet. I can sense some restlessness. But please reconvene in here at 11, and we'll start the program again at that. Colleagues, let me welcome you back. Hope you had a chance to get some refreshments, stretch a little bit. We have some more very interesting presentations ahead of us. And I'm going to start by introducing to you a person who's familiar to us, but not particularly in this role, which has happened recently. Next person to present to us is our historic Triangle campus administrator, who, as often happens at Thomas Nelson, has come out of retirement to join us again in another role. Rob Elsens.
Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back for your break. Glad you all came. People talking a little bit about who they are, and I think most of you know me, but a couple of people have asked me, why would I come back out of retirement to come back here? And I would just say, watch that video. I'm here to talk a little bit about the historic Triangle campus, and I hope the folks on the bridge here at the Hampton campus don't start referring to us as Deep Space Nine. At least, perhaps the captain can work out some kind of transporter mechanism to alleviate that I-604 traffic. I want to talk to you a little bit about the historic Triangle. Can I see a show of hands? How many of you have been to John Jefferson Square? Great. How many of you have been to War Hill? Not so many. Good. Well, I want you to take a little trip with me this morning quickly. You've probably all seen this. This is the architect's rendition of the first building that's going to go up at the historic Triangle War Hill site in the War Hill area. And you've probably been wondering, how long is this going to take? Well, this is the project schedule as we have it right now, and these are approximate dates. We're already into the design phase, and we expect to be through with that here within the next 6 months. But in the meantime, we'll start trying to do some other things early. And one of the reasons we can do that is because we have what's called a construction manager at risk that's being involved in this program. And basically what that means is instead of letting one big contract to one contractor, we make arrangements with a contract manager who then can make subcontract kind of arrangements with other folks, move things forward in pieces as they're ready to go. That contract manager at risk shares in any advances. If we get done early, if there's any good things, of course that contract manager shares in that, but if it's late, if it goes slow, he also shares in the penalties. And I believe contract manager has been almost selected, or has been selected. Almost selected. So that should be done here real quick. We'll be on schedule with that. And then we look at construction. The dates on there you see are the dates on the schedule, but as the President said this morning, we hope to start that much earlier and hope to see some infrastructure work going on in the very near future at the War Hill campus. You've all probably seen this. This is the overview of the War Hill site, and give you some reference points for those of you who have seen this before. Centerville Road up there at the upper left, the road, Route 60 that goes to the Pottery and then down to the Prime Outlets area, and Route 199 that comes around from 64 two ends. I'd like to take you on a little trip down Centerville Road right now to what's called Opportunity Way, which is where the college will be with the new high school. If we go to that site on Centerville Road, this is what you would see. And if you notice the van there in the front, that's our Marlene Waters. Marlene went up there and took these pictures for me on Monday. And appreciate that, Marlene. It's just be careful in traffic. But this is standing on Centerville Road, looking down our Opportunity Way into the site where the new college campus and where the high school are being built. If you drive down Opportunity Way, this is what you see right now. The college space is to the left, the large stand of trees on the left. You go on down the road, you run into the new high school construction, and they're just moving right along on that thing. This is the new high school, the War Hill Third High School for the Williamsburg James City County system. If you move around and just follow that curve a little bit, this road runs between the high school on the right side and the college's property, which would be on the left. And then if you just turned around and look back toward that property, this is what you would see today at the War Hill site of the Thomas Nelson Community College campus. These trees are where work is going to begin soon, and I'm sure environmentally they'll do what they can, say what they can, but it's going to be work on there for the next year or so to build that new campus. And this is just one last view of the new campus. Within, as they say, within the next few months, we'll see a lot more of those little yellow construction machines running around, and more importantly, we're going to take down those stop signs. It's not stop, it's go. Thomas Nelson's historic Triangle campus is a reality, and now all we have to do is put it together. It's been such a thing, kind of iffy for so long, but it's a reality now. And I'm really proud to be associated with that. I'm also very proud to be associated with the team that's up there in the historic Triangle, at the historic Triangle campus. And I just want to tell you a little bit about some of the things that they have accomplished so far this year. In January, we put 10 students, started the first ever nursing program at the historic Triangle campus due to a generous grant from the Williamsburg Community Health Foundation to the TNCC Educational Foundation. That funded the development of a nursing laboratory with state-of-the-art equipment, a new nursing faculty position, and put a lab in place which allows us to start another 10 students in our LPN to RN transition program on the weekends in the historic Triangle. We've applied for another grant with Maddie Brisbane's help from the Williamsburg Community Health Foundation that, if it's funded, will allow us to start a phlebotomy program in the historic Triangle, and will also allow us to offer on-site training in Spanish for emergency healthcare providers in that community. We now have, for the first time, 14 Thomas Nelson Community College students co-enrolled at William and Mary in the new co-enrollment guaranteed admissions agreement between the two colleges. These are students paying TNCC tuition rates while they take William and Mary courses, and they satisfy degrees at both institutions. We have our first full-time faculty at the historic Triangle campus to assist us in the transition to full operations at the new campus. Rudy Schwab in math and Diana Martin in English are going to be forward to their involvement and their leadership and pulling all those kinds of things together. I certainly am grateful for their assistance and advice. And And otherwise, this fall semester, the Historic Triangle team actually consists of 17 people. We have a staff of 17 up there right now. We have 4 vacancies, so that's going to go up to 21, thereabouts. And that's a combination of full-time P14 and a few temps that are in for enrollment support. But in fact, there are a good number of Thomas Nelson team members up there supporting our students in that area. One of the things that's important to us at the Historic Triangle is that we communicate with the campus here, the other campus here at Thomas Nelson. And it's important for us to ask for your help. And I'm going to say special thanks to Virginia Keithley, Molly, Eleonora, and Jessica Godfrey, who came up just last week to the Historic Triangle and conducted a seminar for us on the TRIO programs, some e-recruiting, and some co-op information information. It's those kind of efforts to bring the information up to the Historic Triangle that are very important to us, because then we're able to stay in sync with the information and the opportunities that are being presented here at the Hampton campus and in the campus marketing that we see, the college marketing we see across Hampton Roads. So it's important, and we appreciate that effort. We are looking forward to Dr. Francis Graham's visit. Francis has promised to visit us in the near future to make us smarter about the National Science Foundation grant opportunities. And if I would ask anyone, if you're scheduling training or some kind of a program or orientation to a program here at the Hampton campus, please remember the folks at the Historic Triangle campus and consider bringing your program to us. It's a lot easier for 1 or 2 people to travel to the Williamsburg area to present a program than it is for us to try and find a time to get 17 to 20 people all the way down here in an appropriate, convenient way. So please keep us in mind, keep us in the loop. It's the Hampton campus, the Historic Triangle campus. We're making up Thomas Nelson Community College, and we're all working toward the same thing, which is student success. That's all I have for you this morning. Those of you who have not been to John Jefferson, please come visit us. And if you'd like to take a little trip over to the Ward Health site, let me know, and we'll work out something for you. Thank you very much. At this point, I would like to introduce our Vice President for Information and Technology, Mr. Roy Bernard.
Hi, everybody. In the interest of time, I'm going to keep my presentation relatively brief. I've got 2 slides with a lot of stuff, but a couple of things. I promise I will keep it as short as possible. Okay. Just want to give you an update on some of the things that have been happening in IT over the course of the last year. You know, it's interesting because I can't walk away from this. It's interesting because the majority of the work that goes on in information technology is not necessarily visible to everybody. Of course, the things that go wrong are visible to everybody. And we've had some faux pas this year, but a lot of those are as a result of us making a real intense effort to really shore up our infrastructure, our environment. One of the things that we've had some issues with, and I promise I'm going to speak to, is the email messages that all of you get. And I promise you, I swear to you, I will not lie, I am not the one sending the Viagra and the Viagra emails. Please stop that. We're going to talk about that in a couple of minutes. Some of the things that have happened over the course of the last year, as the President talked about, is the distance learning camp. You know, and all the technology and all the work that went into that, with many different areas from around the campus. Physical plant, campus police, of course the faculty. It was really, really impressive to see everybody come together to pull that event off. You know, and with everything that was done there, it wouldn't have happened without the participation of all of those folks. And personally, I'm looking forward to the next one, which is Camp Reconnected. So we've got Ruth Smith and Jan Klingberg working on that now, and as a matter of fact, we're so excited about it in IT, we've already ordered the laptops that will go to those faculty members when we do that. So that's good news. Another thing, are those the faculty members that are getting those laptops? Tablets. Another thing that you've all seen is the there was a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of input from different areas that went into pulling that together. And I'm sure you would all agree, we really have a beautiful, beautiful website now. And the results really. Another thing that some of you may not have known is if you look in the lower right-hand corner of the website, we have an ADA compliant website, which came to us as a BCCS mandate. And that was pulled together very, very quickly. And I am going to tempt fate, and I am going to tab over to that and show you really, really quickly what that looks like. And we better not have a problem with the network connection. There you go. Yay. Every single portion of the website, every single piece is under this shadow site. ADA, completely ADA compliant. And if you go to this, it's text only. If you go to this, you can change the colors, you can change the font size, you can make it larger or smaller, you know, whatever you want to do pretty much to make sure that it's clearly visible for anyone that has sight problems. And it's really, really good. It's a project that was supposed to have been done this year, and actually they got it done in less than a month. You know, so that was very, very impressive. So that's another piece of good news as well. So I'm going to close that real quick. In addition to that, the next thing, the network core upgrade. One of the things that you don't necessarily see, but you recognize it as a result of the increased speed that you see when you're using the network. There were a whole bunch of switches that were installed in the network center as a result of this network core upgrade. There's more of that that's going to be coming along because there are a bunch of new projects and new things that we want to roll out for the faculty and for the staff, and in the library in particular, for the students that you really, really want to see, and we're excited about it. So this is the first stage of that project. The next thing after that is the boardroom was upgraded, a little bit of work was done there, and more importantly, the Commonwealth Classroom. If you have not gotten a chance to see the Commonwealth Classroom, please take a walk over there. It is something really, really to be proud of, and believe it or not, the last remaining piece of it is the new furniture and the, of course, chairs, and we're getting two 52-inch plasma screens in the back of it as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful room. All new technology, all new equipment, new carpeting, new ceiling, and the folks in physical plant, I've got to give them credit, did an incredible job in a very short period of time pulling it together. So thank you guys very much for that. One of the other things, again, invisible to an extent that people don't necessarily see, we've made a real concerted effort over the course of the last year to increase our level of service and our ability to respond to all of the different folks in the client community as quickly, as possible. We couldn't do it by continuing to add staff. That was certainly not going to happen. But our goal was to automate as many things as possible and to roll out a lot of that automation to you, the client community. One of the things we had to do is start implementing within IT best practices that we follow to be better able to serve all of you. And one of those things was our tracking system, our problem management and software management system, which now allows us to automatically, do a software inventory on all of the machines across campus. That's a process that used to take the IT organization a month and a half to do. And I'm sure some of you remember when Wayne and the other folks in IT would come around and look at your computers once a year and say they've got to take inventory. That was a very labor-intensive process. We don't have to do that anymore. So that's very, very good. That saves us a tremendous amount of time. Wireless access in the Hampton campus. We've got it here in the auditorium. We've got it in different areas. We kind of talked about that a little bit. And it's going to continue to spread and continue to proliferate. And you're going to see it more in the other campuses as well. And particularly the HD campus also, Rob. We're not going to forget you. So you'll be seeing it there also. Now, here it is, the spam server. That was installed over the course of the last year as well. Now, I want to share something with you to give you a little bit of insight to exactly what we're dealing with the spam server. I really wish I could walk away from this. I should have gotten the wireless mic. Believe it or not, on a daily basis, we receive in the college over 15,000 email messages. And out of those 15,000, now that's on the average, out of those 15,000, For example, where are we? In this case, 18,936 messages came in yesterday. And out of those 18,936, the spam server is blocking, in this case, it's blocking bad recipients, it's blocking spam, it's blocking viruses that never hit your desktop as a result of that. Many of those viruses, if you think the Viagra ads are bad, the videos and the pictures that come with it are much worse. The spam server is blocking all of that. In addition to that, if it sees that a virus is particularly bad, instead of quarantining it, we completely eliminate it. We also allow certain ones to go through, but the spam server still monitors it to make sure it is not dangerous and doesn't do anything. One particular day, it had actually blocked the spam server 11,000 spam messages that came in one day. Since the server has been implemented, we have blocked 750,000 spam messages. Now, why are we getting so much spam? Now, one of the things that I understand, we're still kind of living with the sins of the past. I sent out an email message last week to the entire TNCC community about the fact that we are still using an old domain, the vccs.tncc.edu. 70 to 80% of our spam messages come through that domain. We are making a real concerted effort to eliminate that domain by September 1st. That will tremendously cut down the amount of spam that you receive. Now, another thing that you need to know, which a lot of people don't know, I'm going to try to say this as non-technically as possible. We have two servers that the outside world can see. One is our public domain server, and one is our private server. You never give access to anyone for your private server address. AOL and Roadrunner wants our private domain address. The problem with that is if we give that to them, anybody that hacks into their system hacks into our system. AOL and Roadrunner are the only two ISPs out there that demand that. So, goes to say that without a doubt, the majority of the problems you may have been experiencing have been from people trying to send an email from AOL or from Roadrunner. We cannot compromise the security of our environment for an ISP. If we did that, it would really open us up to a whole lot of problems. So that's, without getting too deep, that's where a lot of our problems are coming from as well. Okay? So, close. Where are we going next year? Some of the things that we're going to be working on include the wireless rollout that's going to continue in the PWDC, Hampton 3, and the HT campus. And by the way, this is a private wireless network. After that, we've been mandated by VITA to have public access. So we have to set up a subnet for public wireless access as well for anyone that wants to come on that would not necessarily have to register it with IT. We're going to continue the upgrade to network bandwidth. Of course, the PeopleSoft 8.9 upgrade that's coming, that's due October 15th. We've committed to doing a minimum of 10 new smartphones. Now, I worked intensely with the technology committee, getting information on all of the smart rooms that are needed, identifying all of the smart rooms that need to be renovated. Out of the 10 that we've identified as a definite, 6 of them will be done before classes start. And we've committed to that. A couple of them have already been completed. The target is to have them finished by the end of this week. Several of them have been renovated, and you may see the results as you go into the different rooms as well. And that's the renovation of the existing rooms. The automated parking system. If anyone has had the opportunity to go to parking services over the course of the last couple of days, you would have seen the lines. And it's not for lack of trying. The parking staff has been inundated with faculty, staff, and of course students trying to get their parking passes. And once we automate that process, that's going to make it run a lot smoother. Classroom scheduling, something near and dear, I'm sure, to all faculty members. The piece of software that we've had here does not work for us. And the technology committee, particularly Dawn Hayden, is working with us testing a new software application that's going to improve that as well. Computer-aided dispatch for campus police to help them do the things that they need to do to respond quicker around campus for any emergencies that may come up. And campus security cameras. One of the things that the president wanted to get done as soon as possible is to address a problem before it really becomes a problem. We've had some issues with cars being broken into in some of the parking lots. We've had some concerns that were expressed to us over at the One Stop Center. So we're going to be installing campus security cameras on the external areas of some of the buildings to make sure that campus police, as thinly staffed as they are able to keep an eye on critical areas around campus for the safety of everybody in the college. And what I'd like to do, one of the things that we did is, bingo. You're looking at the outside parking lot, the width parking lot right now. That's a live video feed. What will be able to happen is campus police, and this is not a camera it's just sitting on a cubicle inside of the ESG area, viewing onto that campus parking lot. The camera can zoom in to read a person's license plate as close as that can be. The campus will be much safer. So for example, on the weekend or on off hours, the cameras will be able to automatically take a picture, a photo of a car that's driving onto the campus and take a photo of the license plate. So in the event of any problems, campus police will be aware of what's going on and what's coming and what's going, because again, they are so thinly staffed. Couple of things there. Just zoom over to the tennis court. We're going to be setting up a command center in campus police with a flat screen monitor so they can keep an eye on everything to make sure everybody's safe. And again, the purpose of this is for campus safety. I want to reiterate that none will be going into any classrooms. Take away those death threats, please. So basically, those are just a few of the things that are going on. We can talk about a whole lot more, but again, in the interest of time, I will keep it there and introduce our next speaker, which is Dr. Rice. Before I do, I just want to say, I really, really want to thank everybody in all areas for exhibiting a tremendous amount of patience and forbearance as we in IT get our house in order and as we work to pull the things together to serve you better. I feel sometimes like we are the hub in the middle of all of the spokes, serving everybody. If we haven't gotten to you, it's not because we don't want to. We are going to be doing walkthroughs to all the areas, making sure that you have the technology you need. And if we don't see something that you need that you should have logically, we will make sure that you get it. So again, thank you for your patience last year, and hopefully you will continue to show it next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Hello, everybody. I know it's getting late, and this is the time of the year when I usually come to give you some news and some reports, and we're going to compress them this year into about 10 minutes. So hopefully we'll be able to get on with the program and get on to lunch. By the way, the rumors are true that I and my two daughters did conduct a cultural immersion into the culinary habits of the Italians and have just returned. And we want to report that we have invested strongly in the Italian economy and it is doing well. So this part of our presentation for workforce development reflects the fact that workforce development really is the college's arm to the employees in the community and our hand to the employers to extend what Thomas Nelson is, all that you do, all that you are, all the capabilities and expertise that we have in instruction to that community. And part of that is also bringing back to the college the information from keeping our finger on the pulse of the economy and giving you all the heads up as to where things are going and what the economic projections are from all of our contacts in the field. So what we're going to look at here, first of all, is a summary of the information put together for the governor and the cabinet out of the Office of Economic and Operations Research of the Virginia Employment Commission. Looking at all of the data, and this is the results of extensive charts that I can give you a link to, projected gross domestic product for 2006 is an increase of 3.5% with a national unemployment rate of 4.8%. And in fact, we are going to have a little slowdown in the economy as a result of increased gas prices to a point and the continued investment in Katrina and the recovery from that and a general conservative response by consumers to some of the cost increases brought about by those fuel costs. So the GDP will decrease slightly, but the unemployment rate will not experience that much of an impact. And the same through 2008 when the economy picks up. Overall, this is very good news because an unemployment rate of 5% is considered nationally as full employment. What does it mean for Virginia? Virginia's projections are that our employment will actually be even better than the nation, that our unemployment rate for Virginia is 3.7%, for Hampton Roads is 4%. And when you consider that one of those percentage points is just the result of standard turnover as a result of the military, then you see that our actual business employer unemployment rate is around 3%. Now what does that mean? That means that our businesses are employing a lot of people who do not have the competencies and skills when they're hired to do the job. Of course, this is very good news, but it also carries a very big challenge for us. Some of the Hampton Roads impacts on how well the state is doing is that we are the second largest metropolitan area in the state if you exclude the upper Williamsburg area. If you take that area from Virginia Beach, our greater region, which includes part of the eastern shore, and all the way up through the top of our historic Triangle Campus region, and made it one region, we would actually be a larger economic region, I am told, than Northern Virginia. The construction boom is incredible for the state, but it's even larger here on the Upper Peninsula, especially the historic Triangle area. There has been a dramatic growth in port business, which has impacted transportation and warehousing, and of course you've all seen the result of that on I-64. Existing military are being immediately employed upon retirement, are exiting from the military because, again, of that high employment environment. Fuel prices, that's interesting. Most people see this as a negative, but it has been a positive for the peninsula, uniquely. It has driven more people to take vacations and take advantage of the tourism and travel business on the peninsula and to do more business on the peninsula. Hospitality and tourism experiencing a dramatic growth. You'll see some of these numbers on a later chart. And of course, Jamestown 2007 initiative is fueling the entire state. I heard a private presentation given by Gene Seidler, who is the chair of the host committee for Jamestown 2007. Initial projections when we started this whole planning effort 3 years ago was to bring 1 million visitors to Jamestown. The projections now are over 8 million. And Thomas Nelson is playing a very key role in that, and we'll hear more about that from Carmen Burrows in the presentation. The fastest growing sectors in Virginia: professional and business services, construction, wholesale and retail trade, private education, and all the allied health careers. Again, hospitality and tourism. This sector, finance, insurance, and real estate, the fastest growing aspect of that, again, are the financial call centers and the banks who are doing increasing amount of services online and employing people with expertise to manage those services. Transportation and warehousing is growing. The demand on Thomas Nelson to roll out truck driver training in a greater way is increasing, and also to develop some training programs for the port for cargo shipping and handling and warehousing. And the information industry continues to grow. These sectors, which are leading Virginia, are also leading Hampton Roads. The database I presented before was the Virginia Employment Commission. This is from a database that we have access to called Community College Benefits. Community College Benefits was put together by the Association of Community College Trustees to take immediate data from the Department of Labor database specific to the 6 metropolitan areas or service areas that Thomas Nelson serves. The salaries are the exact earnings reported by our employers on the peninsula. The best baseline we have is 2005 and projecting to 2010. As you look at this, you see the greatest number of jobs is going to be created in professional and business services, closely followed by education and health services. That greatest growth is in the allied health arena, and we will need somewhere around 1,100 more nurses than are currently employed in new positions and replacement positions by 2010. So looking at this, you see what the pressure is on the community college and where the pressure is. This is a wonderful tool. This is not a very good PDF. I apologize for the quality of it, but you can see the sectoral impacts, percent of growth in the regional economy, just looking at growth percentages, not looking at jobs. The fastest growth is in the professional area, closely followed behind by our construction trades. And then you can see the impact of the health careers growth and the professional business services. The bubble charts are very helpful to read. How many of you are familiar with bubble charts? Okay, I'll do a little bit of a quick explanation here. The little line there is 0% growth. Bubble chart, this bubble chart in particular is based on percentages of growth. Anything to the left is a negative growth. Manufacturing is, in Virginia, decreasing. As a sector, we're losing jobs in that area. Natural resources and mining has stopped growing and is flat for Virginia. Public administration is in a growth area. Trade and transportation, large and gaining ground. But look to the right, professional and business sector, education and health sectors are leading, closely followed behind by leisure, hospitality, and other services. Now, I apologize for the next chart because the way the data is drawn, the titles appear with the buttons. So it's going to be a little hard for you to read, but this is specific to our 6 localities on the peninsula, specific to the data those employers have reported. This data is less than 6 months old. So what we're seeing here, like the state, manufacturing is decreasing. Public administration here on the peninsula is not growing, but it's flat. Construction is growing. Trade, transportation growing larger by the minute and moving into a high percentage of growth area. Natural resources is small, but in a growth area. Professional business services huge. And look at our big growth areas again. We're really looking at the health services and education activities. So leisure and hospitality growing. Data like this is available, but more importantly, you can drill down into this data. And for instance, in the area under nurses or registered nurses, you can drill down into specific occupations. And there are many nursing occupations that are not paying very well. A replacement, a total of 941 needed by 2010, 218 licensed practical nurses, our programs with what Tidewater is doing and with their data as well. Tidewater Community College, J. Sarge, and we can get more information on that. If we had another 45 minutes, I'd drill into this website with you and show you what we could do. But we'll be doing a presentation on this in September and showing you how you can access it for specific program information and planning career pathways. So that, in about 7 minutes, is as much of an economic presentation as I can give you. I hope that was helpful. Now, on to Thomas Nelson Workforce Development. Can you all hear me? Am I speaking too closely into the mic? Okay. A lot going on in workforce development and continuing ed. Under Workforce Services and Cooperative Education, that's under Associate Vice President Rex Evans, we have launched the e-recruiting system. And that's a way that our students can enter information about what they're interested in. They can put up their own resume. They can list the types of occupations they're interested in. They can see how many of those are currently offered on the peninsula. And when we have the employers enter the database, they can see which jobs are currently available and apply for them online. This is a wonderful system. Rex has an extraordinary team that is making this work. And I understand we are very close to having 100 Thomas Nelson graduates in that system and placed in jobs. And we have over 300 employers who have listed jobs with us on that system right now. Very exciting. We'll be offering in the future some seminars for faculty on e-recruiting so that you can advise your program students. We have created a new employment coordinator position because Dateline 2009, we just had our halftime report from the chancellor. And although what we're doing is exceptional, we still are one of the lowest in the state at being able to successfully get our students to use our career services and be placed in jobs. Because the way the chancellor is measured is against DOL-generated data, not what the colleges report. The DOL follows data by what they call SOC codes, standard occupational coding, and then out of the information reported on income tax by the employers, the FICA data. And on that alignment is able to trace where our students go and how many end up in the occupations for which they've been trained. So anyway, we'll bring on a full-time person who work with employers, specifically work with the faculty, come into your classrooms, bring the employers into your classes to meet your students before they graduate and talk with them, get to know them, so that by the time they graduate, the jobs are waiting for them. That's the plan. ACT Center is growing. We're becoming recognized by the national providers of certifications professionally. Rex just told me yesterday that the National Association of Healthcare Providers has now authorized us for 6 new certifications. We're putting somewhat up the HT campus outstation for career services, and our one-stop system, extraordinary group of people, just had a 40% cut in budget, have reorganized, just had a major audit, and found out that we met 1 of 17 performance measures, exceeded 16 of 17 performance measures, and are number 1 one-stop in the state. Thomas Nelson does things right, and I'm just so proud of our team across campus. Workforce training and continuing ed has been partnering. We're rolling out non-credit to credit and medical allied health careers right now, and we're also doing truck driver training for the first time credit in partnership with Fort Eustis. They're providing, the reason we can do this for credit is that they're providing all the equipment and all the support for it and all the operations staff. We created a new Director of Military Affairs and Contract Credit so that we can create new career studies certificates and develop more military partnerships. So I'm proud to announce that Wayne Christian has been selected for that position. And congratulations, Wayne. he's the one who's really built it. We've also launched, if you thought PeopleSoft was a challenge for Thomas Nelson, the Army has adopted a system of PeopleSoft, but it's not our PeopleSoft. And the two systems don't talk to each other. So to enroll any military student, they have to enroll in the military's CTAM PeopleSoft, as well as be enrolled as a campus student. So we have a staff there that's double entering everyone, and we're getting a programmer to advise us so we can have our systems begin to talk to each other. Ed2Go, Christy Hawkins has put more than 200 just-in-time courses online using the Ed2Go system. So we're excited about that. And growth and change being what we're about, Christy is moving on. Christy has accepted a position as a full-time faculty member in Allied Health. So congratulations, Christy. Christy, when she started, there were 50 courses that carried. And now there are over 400 in workforce training continuing ed. Tremendous, tremendous achievement. And then the biggest thing in workforce training and continuing ed is the Jamestown 2007 event, which we'll hear about shortly from Carmen. But our challenge is we have been asked to be the training provider for this national event and to train 15,000 people in a year and a half. And we've made tremendous progress on that. We are the training provider for Jamestown 2007 because they felt Thomas Nelson Community College was the provider to do it, and they were very happy with what we had done for them in the first 6 months. So now it's official. Thomas Nelson is the official training provider for Jamestown 2007. Business development and corporate training. Our companies in manufacturing are growing. Despite the national trend to lose jobs in manufacturing, the sectors we're serving are growing and adding employees, especially in welding and sheet metal. In fact, they experienced a 60% growth in the last 2 years. So they're desperate for welders. They've gone to Tidewater Community College. They've gone to Paul DeCamp. They've gone to J. Sarge and Rappahannock. So our companies are getting employees trained at those colleges and bringing them here. They're so desperate for them. So the next step is for us to get the program launched. Thank you to Bill Travis and the partnership of the deans. We have been able to purchase the welding equipment. Thank you to Plant Services and the business office. The bidding process is underway. We're going to have the equipment and we'll be able to launch. We have the equipment on site, but we'll have it operating, and we will be able to launch a welding program in about 2 months. Thank you. This is a whole team effort making it happen. And finally, the DOL grant is the last thing I'd like to talk about. And we have the $2 million grant. We had an audit by the Department of Labor. They were not happy with the high growth initiative grants and the way they were being administered. We were one of the last ones that they came to visit. They came with a list of things they planned to find. They walked away shaking their heads saying, we want you to submit as the national model for the U.S. Department of Labor. So again, congratulations to that team. That really is an incredible privilege. And our way of progress, because we are in the business of growing people, Mac McGinty is the new Vice President for Workforce Development for J. Sargent Reynolds Community College. Mac, congratulations. Well deserved. So that is my report. I am going to turn it over to Carmen Burrows to show you how we're going to educate a whole community to Jamestown 2007 initiative and show you the Prepare, Care, Share. I just want to say how much I appreciate being part of the incredible team that's been assembled here. And I've only been working with them for 2 weeks, but it's a great leadership team. They come here with big hearts. They come here with open arms. And most of all, and no, nothing personal,
Good morning. One of the fun things we are doing is that the Historic Triangle Hospitality Training is being rolled out all over the area, the Historic Triangle area. It's a 4-hour presentation usually. Our time frame this morning is less than 8 minutes. So we'll be brief. As soon as the tape rolls, I will stop saying whatever I was going to be saying. This is a virtual tour of the Historic Triangle. Those of us who live and work here know that we have lots of visitors and they have an important economic impact on our community. If someone asks, are you from here? And you say yes, the next question you know that's coming is going to be, where can I find something? How can I get there? How can I do something I need to do? So we hope that this video, this virtual tour, helps all of our folks answer those questions when they're asked by guests and visitors, whether that happens on the job or whether it happens when you're at the grocery store or in a parking lot or wherever you might be in this greater Historic Triangle area. So if the CD is going to cooperate, which sometimes it does, we'll get to see, if we had been in the 4-hour training, you would have just reviewed the signature events that are happening that started with the Godspeed sale that has recently concluded. And then this tape is a virtual tour of the sites and amenities to remind us that we have a terrific vacation destination right here in our own backyard. And guess what? You get 7 minutes because the tape's not going to play. Our next speaker will be next. You can come visit our training at the Chamber of Tourism Alliance in Williamsburg, and we'll be happy to show you the tape as part of the training. Thanks very much.
I guess that's proof that it happens even to the best of us. That'll be available for your viewing. We'll let you know when. Last presenter this morning is on a topic that is near and dear to me and many of us who in 1985 started honors at Thomas Nelson Community College. We were one of the first, actually one of the founders of the Virginia Collegiate Honors Council in that year. And Linda Ha is carrying that role, so I'm going to introduce Dr. Linda Ha.
Good morning. No. Good afternoon. I'm very pleased to be given this opportunity to tell you about the honors program at Thomas Nelson. But I was warned that I'm one of the last 2 people who stand between you and your lunch. So if you'll indulge me, I'll talk quickly. As many of you already know, the concept of the community college system was originally developed in the 1960s to address the needs of those individuals who perhaps could not afford, either in time or money, to attend a 4-year university. The idea was to provide access to post-secondary education for 2 specific populations: individuals who were perhaps less well prepared academically for the 4-year colleges, as well as individuals who were older, perhaps returning students, recognizing the need to obtain further education beyond high school. The history of the community college system in the United States has demonstrated the incredible success at reaching the goals of accessible and economical educational opportunities for those targeted populations. We too at Thomas Nelson are doing an excellent job at providing higher education opportunities to those individuals, juggling the demands of their families and or work responsibilities with the demands of furthering their education. We are also doing an excellent job at meeting the needs of those students who come to us less well prepared to be successful at college. However, there is another population of students that needs our attention. As the cost of 4-year colleges continues to spiral upward, we find that more and more academically well-prepared students are choosing to begin their college education at the community college. We are finding similar trends at Thomas Nelson, with more students arriving with the intention of transferring when they finish their associate's degree with us. It is this population of students that Thomas Nelson's community colleges honors program would like to capture. Our honors program is designed to provide the academically inspired individual an opportunity to participate in an enhanced educational experience while completing his or her general education requirements. I would like to share with you the current status of our honors program and give you a glimpse of what is to come. Presently, any current Thomas Nelson Community College student who has completed 15 credit hours with a GPA of 3.25 or better can submit an application for admission to the honors program. In addition, a letter or an email of recommendation from a previous Thomas Nelson Community College instructor is needed to complete that application process. Following an interview with the honors program coordinator, and based on acceptance to the program, the student is able to register for honors designated sections of certain general education courses. And at this time, I would like to say that Mandy Earl, who some of you know, who is associated with the BPS division as a work study student, is officially our first honors program student who has met the requirements of an application and recommendations. Students who are new to Thomas Nelson complete the same application and must demonstrate a GPA of 3.25 from their high school. In addition, the new student must write and submit 2 essays with their application form. Again, following an interview with the coordinator and acceptance to the honors program, the student can enroll in honors designated sections of specific courses that student would need for graduation. In order to graduate with honors designation on the diploma, the student must successfully complete a total of 15 credit hours at the honors level. This is equivalent to approximately 5 courses completed at honors level and the total number of courses required for that student's specific degree. It's important for me to note for you that an honors section of a course does not mean that tons of work will be dumped on the honors student, or that the nature of the material covered in the course would be comparable to a graduate level course of content. Rather, the honors course will address the same course of study and goals as set forth for all sections of that subject. Furthermore, the honors course would not require more work, only different work. Students would be expected to take more of a leadership role in the classroom, perhaps leading discussions on topics or giving a PowerPoint presentation on a specific issue. The honors section provides ample opportunity for the use of lots of creative ideas in addressing the topics of the course. This semester, we are offering honors designated sections of the Student Development course, Principles of Sociology, American History Part 1, American Literature Part 1, and Introduction to Biology for the very first time. We are also offering pre-calculus as an honors contract to several students. At this time, the number of students in each class is less than we would like to ultimately have. However, the goal of any honors section is to keep enrollment at 15 students or less. 1 minute? 1 minute. I have a few other things that I'd like to say, but I'm going to skip over them and just let you know that this past year, the Honors Council has been an amazing group of individuals that have moved this program forward, and I thank them and congratulate them, and I look forward to a second year of working with the Honors Council. I also want to thank Dr. Travis for his support, Dr. Taylor for his support, both financially as well as psychologically, and the deans for making this happen. We're very excited, those of us who are involved with it. I encourage any faculty member who would like to teach an honors course to talk to me, and I encourage everyone, regardless of what your job is here on campus. One of the major goals that we have is to increase our recruitment of honors students. As you have a student in your class that stands out, as you meet a student in registration or advising that stands out, please tell them about the honors program. Thank you for your time.
You do understand that we could be sitting here for hours hearing all of this good news, and a lot has been cut out that is just wonderful things that are happening at Thomas Nelson. And appreciate the people who've been speaking and presenting. They've done some fast editing in order to try to keep it in a reasonable time. To continue all the exciting things that we have done, from what you heard with the President's remarks at the beginning through what you just heard, it takes new people, it takes new energy, and it takes continuity. And so the next step is for us to meet some of our new colleagues, and for that I'm going to bring in Lisa Johnson, Manager of Human Resources.
Good morning, everyone. I guess it's afternoon now. Good afternoon. It really is good seeing all of you again. Worked with many of you, most of the summer. Some of you returning, but it really is good seeing you. For the sake of time, as you can tell, we are running out of time. I would love to be able to individually introduce to you our new colleagues, but instead today we're going to ask that all the new employees please stand, and we're going to give a big group welcome for them. We're glad you're here. Let's talk, let's laugh, let's do all those wonderful things employees are supposed to do together. Let's explore, let's excel, let's succeed, and we welcome you to Thomas Nelson Community College. Thank you.
That wraps our program. I do want to remind you there's some very important meetings this afternoon. The College Support Staff Association, the middle managers, there'll be some Blackboard training and so on. Please participate in those. This is the one day out of this semester that you have the time carved out of your busy days to do that. Thank you for your patience. I wish you all a great semester. Enjoy your lunch.
Whoever was wasn't actually reading what was being said. It was making
If you've been up to Williamsburg, yeah, you have to go in the morning and just say it's good. Yeah, we look like great. Somebody coming back.
I'm going to have to personally bring it over. Yeah, that's one. You know, these guys, I'm like these guys. What's taking up so long? Thank you. I'll see you up there. I'm sure I'll be up there.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I'll be up there periodically.
How are you today, sir? How are you today? How are you doing today? Technology. Wonderful. We're all
What he's gonna do is he's gonna take that responsibility down. He's gonna send me that.
Bottom of it. He's gonna do that. He is outside job, and then I work my way down.
But even he would take responsibility
Bottom up. I call the institution bottom up. I just want to.
Well, let me rephrase. I was
just so proud of you. I was just so proud.
I can only speak since I've been here. When you're just moving and shaking.
No, it's the service provider that has to provide that. And also, they're very skimpy on the services. You know, it's the same thing with being skimpy with the Blackberries and what they have. Oh, I gotta get my laptop. Victoria, thank you. You know, I really want to take a look at that projector. No, that's okay, because I need to see what model number it is and how much it would cost to either fix it or repair it.
Okay, great. Thank you very,
Not a problem, anytime. All right, Rob? So think about which one you would prefer, and then we'll take care of that.